What is up, guys? It's Chris from the Moro Pack, and today I just kind of wanted to quickly touch on getting the most out of your hardware in Battlefield 4. This is going to be kind of not really a response, but I guess it's just kind of based on Rival X Factor's recent series on increasing your frames in Battlefield 3 and 4, and I'll link his video in the description, but I'm just kind of going to quickly go over some of the things he talked about and my take on it and how it works for my system and what I've done for me. And maybe you'll have a similar system to me, or maybe you won't. Either way, I'm hoping this video will help you out, and maybe I can help some people get a little bit better frame rates, hopefully. Alright, so there we go. I'm just a little distracted there, but alright, so we'll go ahead and jump into my settings here. I have your sensitivities are just going to be different based on the DPI of your mouse. I have no idea what mine is. It's whatever the default was. I have one of the Razer Death Adders, the 2013 model. So for me, that's what feels comfortable, and I'm still kind of working my way up that scale to get little twitchier, faster controls. Network smoothing factor, X Factor talked about that quickly. Apparently, it's supposed to, because, I mean, if you've been playing a lot of Battlefield 4, you know that they have some big netcode issues that they need to fix. And apparently, if you have this at 10% or 0, really, really low, it's supposed to somewhat help out with that. And then for video settings, resolution scale is going to be one of the things that you can help save some frames there. That way it's not pumping out full resolution. Apparently it's a little bit different than your full screen resolution. I'm not exactly sure how it differs from it, but it helps your frame rate somewhat, I guess. I've been noticing a difference. Anyways, along with all the other settings changes that I've done. So you have your graphics quality on custom. For me, I'm still tweaking this. It just kind of depends on the scene and everything, but with these settings, I get between 58 and 75 frames usually, and for me on a 60 hertz monitor, my goal is to just stay 60 or above as much as possible, because I can't see beyond 60 frames until I get a 120 hertz monitor, which I really want to get at some point. But yeah, if you have a 120 hertz monitor, you're definitely going to want to have some different settings than me, but because I'm only going for 60 plus, I can get a little bit lower frame rates, I guess, and for me, it'll look perfectly fine because that's what I'm used to, and that's what my monitor can handle. So I'm running an Intel i5-3570 processor clocked at 3.4 gigahertz, I think, along with a NVIDIA GeForce GTX 660. So with 8 gigabytes of 1330 RAM, I think, megahertz RAM. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So those are my most important hardware specs regarding gaming. And these are kind of the settings that I've been using that... Hold on, I just don't want to get kicked here. Let me jump in and help out a little bit. But yeah, these are the settings that I've been using, and that's the kind of frame rates that I've been getting with them. I'm still toying around with it, but basically we have our texture quality on high, texture filtering on high, lighting and effects quality. I have noticed those are probably some of the two things that most affect my frame rate. So those I'm keeping on medium. I tried pushing them up to high, and on the larger conquest maps, it drops my frame rate too much. Like I have a tuned eye now for 60 frames, so when I drop to 40, 39, anything in there, I can easily notice it. So for me, medium seems to be working all right. Again, I'm still playing with these settings, so I might find something that works better. Post-process quality high, mesh quality high, terrain quality high, terrain decoration high, any aliasing deferred off. That is another, not as bad as lighting and effects, but that's another hog for graphics processing, along with the ambient occlusion, which I actually have on. But right now I'm actually going to try turning it off and just kind of see how much it improves my frame rate. That's really what this is all about, just tweaking the settings and seeing what you can get that you're comfortable with. Because I really would like to excuse me, I'd really like to have the best graphics that I possibly can with the 60 plus frames. So I'm kind of going for a little compromise here. It's really what I'm looking for. Alright, and then anti-aliasing post-processing is medium. So those are the settings that I use, and then I think, oh, it went away, hold on, yeah. Resolution scale is 85%. I turned it down from 100. I'm still just kind of trying to figure out exactly what difference that makes. But it seems my frame rate definitely, without too much of a quality decrease, my frame rate seems to be doing better. Although right now it's in the 50s. I am recording though, so I mean that's a hit is expected. Oops, now I'm dead. But yeah, I've just been tweaking these settings, and it'll be different for everybody's system, but I'll put my specs in the description as well, so that way you guys can just kind of see what I have. And if you have anything similar, maybe this will help you out. I'm hoping it does. And I'll link you to X Factor's series on this. He talks about it in a little bit more depth than I am. I just kind of wanted to get some of this stuff out there quick, just so that way people know that there are ways of setting this up. Also, while I'm talking about this, vertical sync, if you ever have it on, just turn it off. It creates too much input lag, meaning, if you don't know what it is, meaning when you click your mouse to shoot, basically what it does is it slows down your inputs to match the frame rate to keep you running as smooth as possible, which ends up creating lag. So when you click to shoot, it won't happen excuse me, it won't happen until the frame rates catch up to it. So yeah, it just creates a lot of lag, and it's not worth it, and it locks you at a certain frame rate. And it's really just better to have it off, because you don't really need it for anything. It doesn't do anything that you can't do on your own, and especially if you have higher frame rates, it's not. Really, lower frame rates makes it worse. If you have higher frame rates, you're fine. But that's my 2 cents on that. Also, another thing that he didn't talk about, but I have found to be helpful, is for increasing your frames. If like you're really kind of strained on the frame rate side and you don't really care about some of these things, is take your resolution for your computer, your Windows 7 or 8 or whatever you're running, and you can turn that down to, like, before I built my computer last summer, I was playing on my laptop for Battlefield 3, and that was absolutely horrible, but that was before I was recording, so I didn't need as much processing power. But what I ended up doing was turning down all my settings in-game to low. The in-game resolution was down to low, which is another thing you can do also to fix your frame rate, but that's where it starts to make the game look ugly. So for me, I'm trying to keep it as pretty as possible. But that you can also change your Windows, the skin over your Windows, make it Windows Classic instead of 7 or Vista or whatever, because that'll still take up processing power to process your full HD wallpaper screensaver slideshow that goes on in the background while you're trying to process Battlefield. And I ended up saving a lot of frames that way. Also, if you're running on a laptop, one thing that I found that helped me is any way that you can assist it with, like if you can get a cooling pad or something for it, those work really well. Oh, hold on, I'm trying to find where the guy went. But yeah, cooling pads will work really well. Anything that you can do to assist it in cooling, because laptops are so closed in, they don't really have very good airflow, and that creates a problem because you have all your hardware running at above the optimum temperature, so that can decrease your frame rate also. It's not as much of a problem with towers, but still, cooling your hardware is definitely a priority. If you don't have the proper cooling, you will be in a worse condition than if you do. And I don't remember if I don't think I said yet, but like what I did with my laptop is I didn't have a cooling station or anything, and since I was only needing to use it for like a month or two, I didn't really want to go buy one. So what I did is I took a CD case. I think I used one CD case, if you still have those at this point, but I used one CD case on all four corners of the computer, and it lifted it up off my desk enough where the fan was able to blow out a lot of the hot air, and that literally gave me a 10-frame boost, and it was awesome because already it was running. I mean, I did pretty much everything I could do settings wise. Everything was as low as it could possibly go, and that ended up saving me another 10 frames. I mean, there's just lots of little tweaks like that that are really useful. Also, again, I'll link his videos in the description, but X Factor talked about a new feature with Windows 7 and 8 called core parking. I think it was CPU core parking, which basically, when you're watching like movies or you're doing anything non-CPU intensive, I think it'll just kind of lock the cores at a certain speed that would be slower than something you would need for Battlefield. It'd be slower than normal, and the idea would be to conserve battery power, or not battery, but just conserve energy. I guess it could be battery on a laptop, but conserving energy, and that really isn't optimal for Battlefield. Also, another thing is when you have if you're playing on, I think it really affects laptop users more, but I think regular Windows, I forget what I had my settings on for this. I think regular Windows has it too, like for the desktop version. When you set a power setting on laptops, it's usually easy to find. When you click on your battery on the bottom bar, right click it, it usually defaults to standard form where it balances performance with battery power. And what that does is it limits your CPU to a predetermined speed. So you don't even you get like 50%, I think it is, you get like 50% of your CPU actually being used, which is not what you want at all. So go ahead, sometimes they have a gaming option or a high performance option. If not, go ahead and create one. Like I made my own gaming profile for my laptop, and I'm pretty sure I did it on my PC too, just in case it wasn't using the full power of the processor. If not, then I have to go do that because it needs to. But yeah, those are some of the things that I found to be useful to increase your frame rate. I mean, a lot of those things worked very well for me in Battlefield 3. I was able to, I mean, on a mid-2010 MacBook Pro, 13-inch, I was able to run Battlefield 3. I mean, it looked horrendous, but I was able to run Battlefield 3 at a constant 25 to 30 frames, which now seems incredibly low to me, but then it was playable. Just depending on the game mode and the map and everything I was in, it was pretty playable. That sucked. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't ideal, but that's what I built my computer for. I mean, that was just kind of to hold me over. So I mean, if you can't get, for whatever reason, if you cannot or are not able to get new hardware, because I mean, that would just be the easiest way to do it. If you need an upgrade for a graphics card or something, or a CPU or a RAM or anything like that, I mean, by all means, do that first if you can, because that'll help you out a lot more than any of these tweaks will, because there really isn't any secret fix that will increase your frame rate like tenfold, but there are all the tweaks that I talked about, and in Rival X Factor we'll talk about more in depth. Not even all of these. A lot of these are just I found out on my own. But I mean, if you use a lot of these things, you'll end up increasing your frame rate by a lot, or at least by a lot. I mean, you're not gonna get 120 frames doing this, depending on your hardware. Maybe you will. I don't know, but it will. Hopefully, I'm hoping it'll help you, like it helps me. And I wish that there was a video or some sort of guide out for me when I was trying to figure out all these things. And there really wasn't a lot on the subject. A lot of people had different kind of varying theories on things. And I'm just telling you about what worked for me and what has worked apparently for Rival X Factor, and tons of people that commented on his video saying it worked, and stuff that he did is working for me also too. So I hope this helped you out. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to have me do more videos on stuff like this, let me know in the comments, and be sure to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more content like this and many other games and genres of games. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Chris, signing off.